All right, so for the past few weeks, I've been using this right here. This is the Hohem iSteady V3 gimbal, mobile phone gimbal. And with so many other gimbals on the market, like the DJI Osmo Mobile, as well as the Insta360 Flow, I was really curious to see what was Hohem planning on bringing to the table that's different from these right here. And a huge thanks to Hohem for sponsoring the video by giving me an extra one of these to give out to one of you guys. They do have two colors that they came out with, the kind of a dark gray black pretty much, and this kind of white or off-white one. If you guys are interested in this gimbal, let me know in the comment section down below which color you would go with and also what you plan on shooting with a phone gimbal. Now, like I mentioned, with so many other gimbals on the market, what are those things that make this one different? What are some pros and cons of this one compared to the other ones? That's what I want to talk about in this video. Now, first and foremost, for those that aren't familiar with phone gimbals or gimbals, they are stabilizers to keep your camera. And here we're using a mobile phone, but they also have larger gimbals that you can use for larger cameras. So if you are looking at keeping your horizon nice and steady, you don't want to have shaky footage while you're out there filming your kids, filming your family, filming any event. You want to have nice leveled and stable footage. That is what mobile phone gimbals are for. There's a bunch of different settings you can change on these gimbals depending on how you want to shoot. So if you want to keep your horizon nice and steady, you can do that just by keeping it on one of the standard modes. If you want to follow your subject and you want to be able to tilt forward, you're able to do that as well. You see the camera tilts forward while you do that. You can also change it so it doesn't tilt. And especially the one I like the most is that when you pull the trigger on pretty much all these gimbals, it will maintain that direction the whole time. So if I want to point and shoot at this direction, I push that trigger down, and then now I can actually move the camera in that direction. And even if I were to twist, or if I were to move forward or back, as you can see, the camera does not move. It stays in that direction because I'm holding that trigger down. So when it comes to all the modes, all these gimbals pretty much do the same thing. They all do very similar types of modes, whether it's going to be following your subject, pan and tilt following, as well as that trigger, which keeps it nice and steady. Having that gimbal smooth out your footage, whether you're shooting in something like this, horizontal, or if I just double tap, I'm able to switch it over to vertical. It's really good for vertical content, for social media. It definitely levels up your content creation, keeps things nice and balanced, actually makes things a little bit easier to watch. Now, the first thing we'll talk about is size. And as you can see here, size very similar with the competitors on the market, the Osmo Mobile 6 as well as the Insta360 Flow Pro. As you can see here, they are very similar. Some of the differences, of course, is going to be about the mounting systems, and we'll talk about that. Now, when it comes out to price, the Hohem is actually the most affordable of these three. It comes in at $129. The Osmo Mobile comes in at $139. The Flow Insta360 Flow Pro comes in at $149. Now, when I unbox this gimbal, the very first thing that caught my eye is this right here. We have a removable remote control that you're able to now adjust the settings. You're able to adjust the modes. You're able to actually change the orientation, change the direction of the gimbal, all from this detachable remote, and that's something that these two do not have. The controls on both of these right here are actually built into the handle. You are not able to step away from your gimbal and make those adjustments here like you are with the Hohem one. And if I wanted to change a bunch of the modes, I'm able to do that here. And when you're hooked up to the Hohem Joy app, you can actually adjust things like zoom as well as record, start and stop. So I can start recording, also hit stop. And then you can, of course, adjust the gimbal angle. And I have it on the slowest setting right now just so it's nice and smooth. But you can see here I'm actually adjusting that. And you can change the speeds of the gimbal in the app. This is a really good feature, especially for solo content creators that want to have a little bit more control when they're out there in the field. The one thing I would recommend to Hohem is that if they include a little stronger of a magnet. The one thing I did notice is that when I was out there using it a couple times, that sometimes it would, in my bag, it would get knocked a little bit, and sometimes you'll see it kind of like offset. So it would be nice if they added a stronger magnet here, because if you do lose this controller, then you are not able to control the gimbal. The next feature we'll talk about, which is a little bit different, is this right here, which I really like. It has a built-in tripod and a 1/4-20 here at the very bottom of the handle. Pull out these two, these go kind of diagonal, and there you go. You now have a built-in tripod. That's one of the downfalls here with the OM6 is that the tripod is separate. You have to carry around a separate accessory, and then you have to screw it into the bottom here. However, it is a lot stronger, a lot more sturdy than these two right here. But one thing I did talk about when I did the review on this one is a lot more of that bounce. And then here on the iSteady, a little bit stiffer as well. I was really impressed with the iSteady one because for how small the footprint is, this thing hardly moves. Next unique feature of the Hohem iSteady V3 is this little module right here. Now it serves two purposes. The first one is it's an AI tracking device. So if you hook it up or have it hooked up here, you're able to now just do a little gesture. All I have to do is just give it a little OK sign, just like this. And there you go. Now it's in tracking mode. I didn't have to go into the app. I didn't have to change any settings. I have full tracking on this gimbal now because of this little AI tracking module. But it serves two purposes. It's not only a tracking module, it's also a fill light. So if you find yourself in low light scenarios, you can actually turn this on and adjust not only the color temperature, but the brightness of this light. But I thought this was really cool because you can have full AI tracking without having to launch the app. You can actually use the standard native camera and video app on your phone. You can use all of your social media apps. You're not dependent now on a specific app in order for you to use something like the tracking mode. Also, another feature I really like about it is that not only are you able to track your subject, but you can actually place yourself in a specific area of the frame. So if I want to keep myself in a third of the frame, all I have to do is give it a little symbol just like this. I can move over and then do the symbol again, and there you go. Now it locks me to that third of the frame instead of me being directly in the middle. So this is really good if you're doing something like product reviews and you want to talk about another product here on the side. You can actually have it so that it'll always track you depending on where you set it. I thought that was a really cool function to have, and you could do that without having to actually look at the app or go on the other side of the app and have to configure it. Then when you want it to stop tracking, all you do is put up your hand, just like this. It'll turn red, and there you go. Now it's not tracking me anymore. What's really nice about this module is that it is detachable, so you can actually just pop it off just like that. If you want to turn it around and you want to use the front camera instead of the rear camera, you can do that and still have the ability to track from both sides. The one thing I did notice very similar to the remote control is that this right here can sometimes pop off. Yes, there's clips here that keep it in. However, if you just tap these tabs, it will pop off. It's pretty simple for it to come off. So again, just like the remote control, if Hohem can make these a little bit stronger, the remote control magnet as well as these clips here to stay on, just because of the fact that you're going to be moving this gimbal around, you'd be tossing it in your bag, you don't want to have these things pop off. But I thought this was a really clever way to integrate the AI tracking as well as the light on this gimbal compared to here where the light is actually separate and you have to hook it up through the USB-C on the side. So it's just nice that they kind of made it all one piece, where here on some of these other gimbals, you have to carry around that second accessory. Now for those that like to vlog with the camera or you just want a little bit extra reach, all of these gimbals do have an extendable column here in the middle. Now the iSteady has the shortest one of the three, comes in at about 8 inches. The DJI Osmo Mobile comes in at about 8.5 inches. And surprisingly, even though this is very small of a grip, the Insta360 Flow Pro comes in at 9 inches tall. Having this longer column does come in handy, especially if you're trying to do what I was doing, trying to get some really low shots or low to the ground shots. You don't want to kind of hold your gimbal low. You can actually just flip it upside down, shoot like this, and then extend the pole out. And then you can actually be right next to the ground, get a lot of that movement here while you're also shooting your subject. One feature that these two gimbals do have over the Hohem is that when you open up the gimbal itself, it will start up right away. So that's actually something I really like about some of these gimbals, is that if you want to get up and shooting, all you do is open it up and it'll power on. Now I'm not sure if iSteady or Hohem can actually do that or just change something here where when you unfold it, it'll trigger the power. That's a feature we have here on the Osmo as well as the Insta360. It would be nice if Hohem integrated it here on this gimbal. Now when it comes down to the mounting system, as you can see, the Osmo Mobile as well as the Insta360 both use this magnetic mount, where here on the iSteady, it is built in. You are not able to remove the mount system from the gimbal. Next, we'll talk about the battery life, and surprisingly, the Hohem is rated for 13 hours. Now, when I'm out there shooting, I'm not normally shooting for long periods of time. I'll normally just take out my phone and my gimbal, shoot some family activities, shoot some B-roll here and there, and then I'll put it away. So I didn't really do a full test when I was doing it as far as will it stay on for 13 hours? However, with all these gimbals, the way I use them, I pretty much won't run out of battery throughout the day because I'll be using them on and off. But as far as what they're rated for, Hohem says it's rated for 13 hours, the Insta360 rated for 10 hours, and the OM6 rated for 6 hours of use. And besides some of those things that I think Hohem can improve on, the magnet and the remote control, as well as these clips here, both of those can definitely be enhanced on their next version. This is definitely a really solid option against something like the Osmo Mobile, as well as the Insta360 Flow. They have one in black, and they also have this one in white, and I will be giving one of these away. So if you guys are interested, just make sure you guys leave me a comment down below. Let me know which color would you like to use, and also what are you planning on using with a phone gimbal. As always, if you guys got some value from this video, a big like would be much appreciated. This is Osmo with FlytPath.com. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.